Sit bones are heavy, legs are heavy. And just like a snow globe where you shake up the globe and all the snow, artificial snowflakes are going all over the globe, can you let all of that snow settle? Just really gather yourself here and come into some stillness. If it's comfortable for you, close your eyes down, soften your gaze downward so that you can withdraw from external sensibilities and move internally. So you might find yourself with, I don't want to say exactly post COVID because we still have it, but you might find yourself in this time moving back into sort of a pre COVID way of engaging in the world, that all of a sudden you're feeling maybe like you have a lot of demands again on your time, invitations to do things and go places, maybe even a desire or this idea that you should be happy because we're seeing each other more. And there's some pressure there, some anxiety around returning, causing perhaps some irritability. There was this sort of nice part of being in the pandemic where we didn't have to say yes or no to anything. We just were kind of being. From here, if you could keep your eyes soft or your gaze down, just begin to move maybe the shoulders, maybe through your neck, just inviting a little bit of movement to indicate that it's time for a little energetic movement here. Take a twist in one direction, a twist in the opposite direction. And a couple times there. And then we're going to transition to our knees on our mat, standing on our knees. So set yourself up if you need a blanket for your knees. Set yourself up and I'll meet you over on the mat. So essentially, we're going to be in the Tadasana shape on our knees. So find an even standing on your knees, back of the head lined up with your sacrum. Back of the head lines up with the sacrum. So draw your earlobes back over your shoulders. Great. And then we'll begin a little flow here. So bring your hands into prayer. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, drop your hands back to prayer and bow slightly. Release hands down to your side. Bring your right foot forward and hands to the right knee. Drop into a lunge. Take 3 rounds of breath here. Keep the pelvic floor lifted. Heart lifted. On your next inhale, press yourself back up so you're in the 90-90. Reach your fingertips down towards the floor. Next inhale, reach your arms up, palms facing one another, and gaze slightly upward. Draw low ribs in, tailbone down. On your next exhale, place your hands down around your front foot. Set your hips back, foot back, downward facing dog. Next inhale, drop to your knees, come to cow. Exhale to cat. And then drop your hips back towards child's pose. Inhale, as you start to come up, drop your forearms to the floor. So forearms to the floor, so you're in kind of a puppy pose shape. Take 3 rounds of breath here. Reach your heart towards the floor, or your belly, I guess, more towards the floor as your heart opens. Tail feathers are spread. And then step 1 foot back, the other foot back. Come all the way down to Sphinx. And lower down to the floor, forehead to the floor. Slide hands underneath shoulders. Press up, baby cobra. Exhale, release back to the floor. And we'll repeat that 2 more times. Inhale, press up. Keep the back of your neck long. Baby cobra. Exhale, forehead to the floor. Last one. Press up through hands and knees, back to downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, round into cat. And then set yourself back towards your heels, standing up on your knees. Bring your hands to prayer. Take 3 rounds of breath here. Soften the heart space. Next inhale, reach the arms up. Draw low ribs in, tailbone down. And exhale, hands back to heart center as you bow. Release your hands to your side. Step the opposite foot forward, left for me. Hands to the thigh, drop into the lunge on the opposite side. Keep your pelvic floor lifted. 3 rounds of breath here. On your next inhale, press up So you're in the 90-90, both legs at 90 degrees. Reach your fingertips towards the floor. Next inhale, raise the arms up overhead. And on your exhale, bring your hands down around your front foot. Take your hips back as you straighten the back leg and come into downward facing dog. Inhale, drop to your knees, cow. Exhale, round your back, cat. And then from that cat position, just drop your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. Inhale to begin to come up towards all fours. Put your forearms to the floor. Take 3 rounds of breath here. Try not to look up, just keep the back of your neck long. And then wiggle, stretch, get yourself long on the mat so you come right into Sphinx. Next, exhale, lower all the way to the floor, forehead to the floor. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Next, inhale, press into baby cobra. And exhale, release. Inhale, press into baby cobra. Exhale, release. One more. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. This inhale now, you'll press through table, turn toes under, come back downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to all fours, and then stand back up on your knees. We'll go one more time each side. Bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. You could take a gaze up towards your hands, but keep the back of your neck long. So maybe it's just the eyes that stretch there. And then exhale, bring hands back to heart center and fold or bow in towards your hands. Hands to hips, step the right foot forward. Hands on the top of your thigh as you lunge down towards the floor. Back knee is on the ground. Take 3 rounds of breath here. Your next inhale, you press up. Reach fingertips down towards the floor. Arms are alongside your body. Next inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands down around the front foot. Turn the back toes under, hips go back, and you step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, round your back, come into cat. And then drop your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. Come up towards all fours, drop your forearms so you're in a puppy pose. You could have some movement here if that felt good in your body. Please be spontaneous. So taking 2 more rounds of breath here. And then slide yourself down to Sphinx. Elbows under shoulders. Back of the neck is long. Next exhale, come all the way to the floor with your forehead. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, press into cobra. Exhale, all the way to the floor. 2 more cobra, baby cobra. Just keep it low. Keep the back of your neck long. Next inhale, press yourself up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees to the floor, stand up on your knees, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up, the ribs in, tailbone down. Exhale, hands to heart center, bow towards your hands. And release your hands to your hips, step your left foot forward. Hands to the thigh, come into the lunge here. Keep the pelvic floor lifted as you come forward. 3 rounds of breath here. And next inhale, press into the 90-90. Reach your fingertips down towards the floor. Inhale, hands up, overhead, palms face one another. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, curl the back toes, hips come back, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop to your knees, cow. Exhale, round cat. Bring your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. Come up towards table, forearms to the floor. Slide yourself into Sphinx. And this time just come all the way to the floor. Make a little pillow with your hands, resting your forehead on the pillow. You could bend your knees here and softly move your feet back and forth in a windshield wiper action. Take a couple of breaths here to slow everything down. And then stretch left arm long, roll, use your right hand to help you roll onto your side waist, your left side waist, and bring your right foot back so you're in a side half bow. So right foot comes back, you take it with your right hand, that's it. And then just open up the front of your right leg. Great. From here, straighten that top leg and bring it behind you on the floor, behind you. And just feel a little twist here. So you're just resting. You might have to have the top arm out in front of you for balance, but just a little twist here in the spine. So you have that's right, bring the top leg behind you, the top arm can come in front of your body for balance. It doesn't have to rest on your hip. Great. And then roll through center. Roll right over onto the other side. Take your top foot and come into sideline half bow. So you're taking the top foot with the top hand, opening up your thigh. Then you'll straighten that top leg, bring it behind your back body, behind your body in space. Top arm can reach out in front of you and just help you balance. And you're just in a little twist here. And then roll yourself back onto your tummy. Press yourself up and come to standing. And we're going to take a big wide stance on the mat. Just rearrange my camera a bit here. So you'll be lined up with the long edge of your mat. And you want to have a block. So take a wide stance here. Wide stance block to the front foot, which is, we're going to start with our left foot. I'm not mirroring you, so turn your left foot out and your right heel out. Left foot out, right heel out. Great. And then just inhale the front, the left leg is the front leg. Inhale the front arm up and feel a lot of opening through the side waist. Then bring that hand down to your thigh and just slide towards your shin and come back up. And then inhale, find that length through your side waist. Then exhale, bring your hand down to your thigh, slide down towards your shin. Repeat that a few times. So part of the purpose, part of the intent of our movement today is to disperse some of the heat that we build in the summer or in more solar activities. So it doesn't build up and we have a good balance in our body. The next time you come down towards your shin, you could stay there. If it's okay in your body, you're warmed up enough, you can take the block on the outside of your lower leg and bring your hand to the block. So either to the shin or to the thigh, if you're not quite warmed up, or to the block that's on the outside of your foot. So Trikonasana, triangle. Scoop your belly towards me, and then raise your top arm. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. Eyes are soft, gaze is soft. And then top hand to the hip, bend through the knee, bring your block with you, always travel with the block, and turn the feet. Turn the right foot now out. Set your block down over there. Left heel out. And then inhale, the front arm is now the right arm. And we'll do the same little vinyasa. So as you exhale, you just let your hand come to your legs, slide down towards your shin. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Try not to bend forward at the waist. Keep this all in the sideline. That's it. And then this last time, as you come forward, either hand to the thigh, to the lower leg, or to the block, which is on the outside of your lower leg. Look down at your kneecap here. Kneecap lined up with the center of your lower leg. And you could stack the shoulders. Two more rounds of breath. Bend through your front leg and take your block with you and come back to center. We'll go back to the first side. But now we're going to shorten the stance. Take the left foot to line up with the long edge of your mat and bring your right foot around so that it's kind of a warrior one stance with the front leg straight, warrior one. So about that distance, back foot in. In fact, you could start even a little tighter. Good. And then we'll just fold here. Just to no more than really like about 45 degrees from the floor, and then come back up. We're just going to work our way down into this. We want the block now on the inside of the front foot. Inside of the front foot. So now as you fold down, find your right hand on the block. If you have the ability to go to the floor, you can, but keep a nice anterior or forward tilt in your pelvis. And then left hand on your hip as you begin to turn to the left. Draw the left hip back in space. So twisting triangle, revolving triangle. 2 more breaths. Turn your shoulders to square up to the floor. Bend through the front knee. Bring your block up with you. Turn both feet. And then turn the right foot now out to face, line up with the long edge of your mat. Bring your left foot over to the left and a little bit of an angle on the back foot. Block goes to the inside of your front foot. Same thing, you can sort of ease your way into this. Just take a couple of sort of half folds. And you might get some length to your side body as you come down, but the left hand's now going to come to the block. And it could be that you bring your back foot so you're more in like a crescent shape. Even the back toes could even be lifted. So you need to play around with what feels like it will work in your body. And by that I mean just we all have different bodies, so you might have a little bigger stance, a little shorter stance. But now with my left hand on the block, I have it on the highest setting, right hand on my hip. I'm going to draw my right hip back in space and attempt to spin my torso to the right. Big posture. Be kind to yourself here. Two more breaths. And then come back around, bend through the front knee. Open your feet up. And now we're going to come back to the top of the mat or the back of the mat, either one. And I want you to have your blocks handy for this version of downward facing dog. So any way you want to come into downward dog, you could come to your knees. You could do a vinyasa. I'm going to come to my knees, kind of line up my block here. And I'm going to come, you could watch first, and then we'll go in. I'm going to come into downward facing dog. And find the right orientation for my block. And I'm going to rest my head, my forehead on the block. So all the same things in downward dog, squeezing the legs. So you might have your block on a higher setting. You might stack 2 blocks. I'm just going to rest my head on the block in this downward facing dog. Everyone could bend through your knees slightly and draw the top of your thighs back. Draw the top of the thighs back and then re-straighten the legs. There we go. Yes, good. Next inhale, drop down to your knees again, come into the cow. Move your block over to the side. Round into cat. And then, actually I lied, you want your block handy. Then take the block between your ankles. And set your hips back so you're in Virasana, hero's pose. So sitting on the block is between your ankles. You're squeezing the block between your ankles. Good. And then from here, if if it feels okay in your knees, bring your hands behind your back, stretching the top of your calves or top of your thighs. Great. And then we'll come forward, take the block away, and we're going to take Virasana on the floor if possible. So I have one leg straight. I'm going to rock to the straight leg side, roll my calf on the bent leg side out of the way, and then I tuck my foot right beside my hip, right beside my hip. Okay, so I've got leg straight, yep. Straighten out the opposite leg, so you don't have to have both legs in Virasana. Straighten one leg, there you go, and it's out in front of you like Dandasana. And you're not sitting on your heel is over to the side of your hip. Your heel is to the side of your hip. So you rock onto the straight leg, roll the calf out of the way on the bent leg. You are not sitting on the bent leg heel, not sitting on it. It's to the side. It's Virasana, not Sukhasana, Mary Lou, not Sukhasana, Virasana. Virasana. Leg to the side. Great. So let's look at it. There we go. Okay. So we have one leg. You can come into it this way. For a lot of us, we can't do this on the floor, so we just do one leg at a time. But I'm on my knees. I scoot my calves out of the way. One leg is long, and the other leg is in Virasana. Heel beside the hip, calf out of the way. If this doesn't work in your knees, just go back to the version with the block. Now, if this feels okay, come back, maybe to the forearms. And if you have the ability and it doesn't hurt your knees, you can go all the way to your back. But be careful and honest with yourself about where you need to land here. There we go. I'm on my elbows. And then I press and walk myself back up. And I'm going to switch sides. So you could start in Dandasana. And roll over to one hip. Bring the opposite foot back. Yep. Get your calf out of the way. And then this leg that's bent, the leg that's bent, that's in Virasana, the foot is right alongside the hip. We're not sitting on the heel. And then you could lean back. Or come all the way to your elbows, your forearms. And maybe all the way to the floor. Supta Virasana. Good. So wherever you are, press yourself back up and then come to your back. Come to your back, position of comfort. So feet bent or knees bent and feet on the soles of your feet on the floor. And here we'll just take a few cascading bridges. So the feet are close enough to your buttocks that you can kind of reach out with your fingers and just graze the back of your heel with your fingertips. And then as you press into your hips, lift your arms behind you. Okay, and leave the arms back behind you as you roll down one vertebra at a time. Really go nice and slow here. And then just bring your arms back down alongside your body, making like a snow angel out to the side as you come back. And then press into your feet, lift your hips, bring your arms behind you. And then lower your hips, leave your arms where they are, one vertebra at a time. And then Bring your hands back into that original starting position. All right, a few on your own. Feels so good. Let's do one more. One more of this cascading bridge. So the arms stay where they are, really roll down slowly, one vertebra at a time. And then just bring the arms around back to the beginning. So now check your feet again. If you've moved your feet, bring the feet back. And then we'll bring our arms into what we call the robot arms. So upper arms press into the floor, elbows press into the floor, and fingers reach for the ceiling. Fingers together like swords. Then pick your heels up, pick your toes up. Now, with your toes picked up, press your heels firmly into the floor and lift your hips. Draw your lower butt muscles, the LBMs. Feel the lower butt muscle and the hamstring attachment. Really feel the lower butt muscle coming down into the hamstring. So we got the toes lifted. You could reach back and feel right where the hamstring and the butt muscles, the buttocks meet. You could feel those muscles really engage there. Then just let your toes come softly back down to the floor. Keep that engagement in the hamstring. Yeah, keep that engagement in the hamstring. Lift a little higher. Keep the back of your neck long here. Great, roll back down, one vertebra at a time. Okay, so we're really working to find the hamstrings here. So we pick up our toes, spike the heels down, press the heels down into the floor, and then press your hips up. And it's like you're dragging your lower butt muscles into the hamstring. And you should be able to feel that with your fingers if you reach down there. Then softly let your feet come back down to the floor. Now, arms can stay in this position, or you can rock side to side, scoot your shoulder blades underneath, big external rotation in the arms. Bring hands together, interlace hands together, release pinkies, press the pinky side of your hand into the floor. Lift the hips, keep the engagement in your hamstrings. Draw your knees towards the short end of your mat. Back of the neck long. Back of the neck long. And then we'll come out sort of the same way. We'll release the hands, robot arms, roll down one vertebra at a time, all the way back to the floor. And then this last one we're going to take in a more restorative way. So grab a block. And as you press up, just set the block right underneath your sacrum. Release your arms out to the side like Shavasana arms. You keep the shape of your legs the same. So legs parallel, knees drawing towards the short end of your mat. And upstroke the navel. So you have some engagement in your core. It's not just a complete dropping into the floor. You want to keep a little engagement in your core so your low back stays supported. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then press your feet into the floor, lift your hips, take the block and slide it out to the side, and slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. Roll to one side, cross the ankles, grab the edge of your mat, and rock, or one of those options, and rock yourself up to a seat. Great. Okay, so let's bring the right foot now into Sukhasana. So the right foot into the inside of the left foot into the inside of the right leg. Mm-hmm. And then sit up nice and tall and twist towards the bent leg side. Just twist over towards the bent leg side. If you have the opposite orientation, it's fine. And just release back to the center. And then bring your body orientation so that the front leg is in Dandasana, or the long leg is in Dandasana, and you cross over with the opposite leg. So Ardha Matsyendrasana. And then you're going to grab your knee. Just pull your knee in towards you. Keep your back, your spine nice and tall. Yep, so draw low back in. Low back comes in and in. Lumbar spine in. So we're not rounding in the back here. Good. And then from here, we'll just take that bent leg, straighten it out, bring the opposite foot into the inner groin. Toes of the long leg pulled back towards shins. Take a little spin towards the bent leg side. Should be on the opposite leg now. A little spin. Keep lumbar spine pulled in. Alrighty. Then you take your hands behind you and sort of reorient yourself. Or maybe that's just me reorienting so I can show you a better picture. But the bent leg now comes across the long leg. Yep, and just take and notice if you're slouching here, I'll turn my orientation. You don't want to slouch into your back here. You want to keep lumbar spine pulled in. So use your hands around your knee to kind of help you stay upright here. And, if that feels okay in your body, really you could just take so your bent leg side, you could take the opposite hand and pull that knee in and spin, twist towards the bent leg side. So just be honest about where you are this morning and honor your body. Great, and then we're gonna take both legs long. We're not sitting up on anything for this Dandasana, so really bring hands back behind you, fingers point in. Fingers point in towards your booty. Fingers point in. If that's uncomfortable, you can spin them towards the edge of the mat a little bit. And really pull lumbar spine in so you have a good anterior tilt of the pelvis. And then from here, come down to your forearms. So just come down to your forearms, sort of like a little bit of a fish variation. Great. And then come all the way to the floor. So we'll do a little bit different order today. So we'll take a couple minutes here in a Shavasana shape. If you need to find another twist of some sort, you can. We're going to not finish with Shavasana today, so enjoy a little rest here. Let your feet just fall out to the side. Arms are heavy. Feel the hug of gravity. In the same way that gravity affects the moon, the tides, can you let gravity be your friend here? Take about 3 more rounds of breath. And then just slowly make your way back up to a seat. Just take your time. We're going to finish with some pranayama. So roll to one side or rock on your back and forth and find a seat. So if you have, hopefully you have a prop that you can set your hips higher than your knees. So you could sit in Sukhasana or Virasana. And we'll do some alternate nostril breathing. So we'll see how those channels are doing, those 2 channels, if we have an even flow. So you can bring your index finger and your middle finger right between your brow, or right to the space between your brow, but above your brow, if you can see me. And then thumb to, I got my thumb, I'm using my right hand, so my thumb is on my right nostril, my ring finger on my left nostril. So here, when we start this, I'll guide in a second. Just be aware of which side might feel like it has some resistance and which side is flowing more evenly. So let's take the right side and block that off. And instead of being right on the fleshy part of your nose here, just slide your hand up a little bit. So it's not like a complete blocking off of your nostril. So thumb on the right side, or if you're using your left hand, ring finger. Inhale through the left nostril. And then out through the right. Inhale through the right. Close the right off. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close the left. exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close it off, exhale through the left. Inhale left. Close that off, exhale right. Continue that pattern. Wherever you are, finish with an exhale out the right nostril. And then from there, just close your eyes or softly take your gaze down towards the floor, resting hands in lap or on thighs. Draw the lumbar spine in, elbows down towards the floor, earlobes over shoulders. Eyes soft, ears soft. Open your arms wide. Bring your finger pads together slowly, 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 right in front of the heart. Thumbs touching the sternum, bowing. Namaste.